late night fire.
Now, you're watching News Channel 2 at sunrise with Gary Liberatore.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2, meteorologist Eric Gage.
And I want to warn our fellow employees out there, when you come in, that parking lot is quite slippery.
It is a literal sheet of ice from the ground to the cars to basically everything is a sheet of ice. So yeah, there is some patchy freezing drizzle taking place this morning, especially in the hilltops. Some of the roads in the lower elevations, you can see some of it accumulate, but they are treated, so the roads are okay down there. But again, watch out for the slick spots as you head up to the hilltops. So again, here's a look at what we see in the parking lot this morning. This is the ice on the car, and it's what looks like almost freezing rain. However, it was just mainly light drizzle overnight last night. So again, a freezing drizzle alert for this morning. Watch out for icy spots on untreated surfaces, especially parking lots. They are very slick, especially in those highest elevations. Winds a little breezy in some spots, but nothing like what we saw a few days ago. And in downtown Utica, again, the main roads are looking clear and fine, but again, you go on those untreated surfaces, they could be a little icy. Currently, it is 33 degrees at this point. And a live look at the radar, we're seeing some lake effect snow showers taking place off of Lake Ontario, primarily affecting Lewis County, northern Oneida County, and of course northern Herkimer County, seeing some of that snow at this point. And for today, the snow will become more widespread by this afternoon after the lake effect snow takes place in the morning. Following this, lingering flurries heading into tonight and early tomorrow. Quiet a little bit tomorrow, then we're tracking our next weather system heading into Friday evening and Friday night, starting out similar to what we saw earlier in the week with wet snow, turning over to rain and some possible damaging winds. Look at that full forecast is coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. Let's get right to that breaking news now. Crews are called out to...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good morning and welcome back. We're taking a look at any travel issues you could be expecting, both for your morning and for your evening commute. Starting out this morning, a live look at downtown Utica. You can see the roads in the lowest elevations are wet but clear. There is a light drizzle taking place in some spots from that lake effect band moving into the warmer air in the Mohawk Valley, as the temperature is currently 33 degrees. However, in those hilltops, it is refreezing. Patchy freezing drizzle is possible in those higher elevations, and you could see some of that on some untreated roads as well, of course, the parking lots and driveways. Live look at Cooperstown, 32 degrees. Similar story. There's some patchy drizzle in higher elevations, but again, the primary location is north of the Mohawk Valley. And looking at some road conditions across the Utica area, as you can see here, Route 20, Route 8 looking clear. Same thing for Arterial and Utica, and of course North Genesee Street. And as always, I-90 around Herkimer Mohawk roads are looking clear at this point. And again, for today, the only travel issues you can be expecting will be primarily for this morning, with some patchy drizzle and some icy spots on untreated surfaces. Budget an extra minute or so if there is some ice on your car. We're talking about some snow this afternoon, but again, nothing major with that. Gary?
Thank you. The Verona Fire District is struggling with staffing.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. This morning is starting out a little bit cooler than yesterday morning, with temperatures in the 30s and in some cases 20s, with some patchy freezing drizzle in the higher elevations. A live look at downtown Utica, though. The main roads, the treated roads, are fine as you head out. But again, watch out for some slick spots on untreated surfaces on driveways, hilltops, as well as parking lots as you head to work this morning. Currently in Utica, it is just above freezing at 33 degrees, a decent westerly wind at 7 miles per hour, so it feels like 27 degrees out. And for today, we're looking to be right around average for this time of year. Normal high 37, normal low 17. Our highs for today will be in the low to mid 30s before some snow develops by the afternoon hours. Now, regarding winds, We're talking about potential for damaging winds yet again on Friday night and into Saturday. We got a strong southeasterly wind. The reason why, when we have southeasterly winds, why it's more concerning for power outages, because usually our area trees are stronger for westerly winds. However, with a very rare strong southeasterly wind, the roots are not prepared for those types of winds. That's why usually outages are much more common with that wind direction. Regarding forecasted wind gusts, again, looking relatively breezy, but not too bad for the next day or so. But again, heading into Friday night into early Saturday, almost looks like a carbon copy of what we saw Tuesday night into early Wednesday with those extremely strong wind gusts, especially on those hilltops. In a live look at the Yorkville Battery live radar, we can see that Clipper system approaching from the west. It'll enter our area and then weaken as we approach the afternoon hours. But also for right now, we're dealing with some lake effect snow, especially just on the Lewis-Oneida County border. And turning on our high sensitivity mode, we can see just some light drizzle pushing into parts of areas north of Utica, and that drizzle is freezing on some surfaces. And so your skycast for today, that lake effect cloud band, drizzle band, snow band gradually pushes its way north. Then, heading into this afternoon, light snow showers. You can see the system gradually weakening as it pushes over our area. And in the lowest elevations, especially in Utica area, it might mix in with some sleet or a wintry mix, maybe even rain showers as well. Those temperatures are still right around freezing at 33 degrees before it turns over to mainly snow, light snow overnight tonight, and a few lingering flurries by early Friday. Regarding snowfall, again, 2 to 4 inches possible in those higher elevations north of the valley. That 4 to 8 inch range could vary a few miles north and south, but the general idea is not a lot will be sticking in the surfaces, if any, in the lowest elevations in the Mohawk Valley and south. And so for today, got an afternoon snow, maybe a light mix moving into parts of the Mohawk Valley, a high of 36 degrees. Tonight, a low of 27. A few lingering flurries. Your 7-day forecast looking quiet for the most part on Friday. And again, our attention turns to Saturday, or especially Friday night into Saturday. A similar setup again with wet snow turning over to rain and then strong winds. But for those wondering when this should be arriving, thankfully it arrives after the evening rush hour, closer to the 7 to 8 p.m. range. So the only difference in the system is it arrives a little bit later in the day, but almost exact same setup with wet snow and then rain and winds.
And then after that, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Maybe another one coming.
Well, after that, we're talking about cooler temperatures, much more January-like. So we'll get to that once this system passes.
Getting bitter.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:24.
Now, you're watching News Channel 2 at sunrise with Gary Liberatore.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Fracker, too, meteorologist Eric Gage.
And we were mentioning it earlier, but that parking lot out there is pretty darn slippery, so a lot of folks get ready to when you head out.
Yeah, that's right. And even heading up Smith Hill here in Deerfield, as you got the higher elevations, the roads were a little bit slick, and you got on the hilltops. Then the parking lots, which of course our parking lot was coated entirely in ice. Same thing for our cars in our parking lot as well. Take a look at this right here. This is from one of our news trucks. You can see a very good sized layer of ice on the windshield and on the windows here. This is primarily in higher elevations. There's patchy freezing drizzle in higher elevations north of Utica, where that lake effect band isn't producing snow, but of course producing this. And again, we do have a patchy freezing drizzle alert this morning. Watch out for icy spots on untreated surfaces. For example, our entire parking lot here in Deerfield is entirely coated in ice. And you can see wind speeds across parts of central New York. A little breezy, but not too bad. And of course, as you head down into the Utica area, downtown Utica, Oriskany is looking relatively okay. We've got quiet conditions, wet roads, but not slick. But again, parking lots, untreated surfaces could be a little slick, especially in those hilltops. And a live look at the radar, we can see that lake effect snow band still pushing through portions of Lewis County on the border of Oneida County and, of course, northern Herkimer County as that band slowly shifts north throughout the early to mid-morning. And then we're talking about looking at some afternoon snow by this afternoon. Maybe a light wintry mix in the Mohawk Valley as those temperatures struggle to fall below freezing. We also have a look at quiet weather for the most part on Friday. And then, as Gary mentioned, too, a return to, yet again, windy conditions by this weekend. I'll explain exactly where and when in detail coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. At first glance, it looks like the wind won.
Good morning. It is 5:43. Time to look at the newest weather photo of the day. And for this morning, here is a very adorable shot here of a bird looking to be very cold with all that cold weather moving in, at least temporarily. And of course, the quote submitted with this picture, "Baby, it's cold outside." Of course, this was taken in New Hartford. I love pictures like these. This, of course, will be posted on our News Channel 2 Facebook page this afternoon, along with every photo we show here on News Channel 2 at sunrise. And if you want your photo submitted, you can include pictures such as this of animals out in the weather, your pets, people building a snowman, your family building a snowman, cool weather shots, rainbows, snow, sunrises, sunsets, you name it, anything weather related, you just submit it to wktv.com/weather/pics, and we might just select it for our morning show here at News Channel 2 at sunrise. And look at current conditions, 33 degrees with cloudy skies in Utica, a light mist falling in some locations, freezing in some as well, just north of Utica, and some light snow taking place in Inlet in parts of the North Country with temperatures in the upper 20s. We are tracking some light snow this afternoon, turning to more active weather by Friday and Saturday. Full details on that coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. The White House says President Biden.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome back. Conditions this morning dependent on location, whether it's cloudy skies, light mist, patchy freezing drizzle, or some light snow. Take a live look at downtown Utica right now. The conditions in downtown Utica, a light mist here and there, but otherwise looking relatively quiet. There is some patchy freezing drizzle as you head up into the higher elevations north and in areas directly south of Utica, with temperatures hovering right around freezing, 33 degrees officially at Griffith and Rome, with a decent westerly wind of 7 miles per hour. A look at conditions expected for today, starting out with temperatures right around normal for this time of year, with highs in the low to mid 30s and overnight lows falling into the 20s. It will feel like the 20s for today with, again, that westerly wind. Regarding those wind speeds, this will be the calmest of the next couple of days regarding winds. Friday starts out quiet, but then there was potential for, yet again, damaging winds. Now, we did see strong wind gusts yesterday, especially last evening. However, the concern for wind damage isn't high with westerly winds because our area is used to seeing stronger wind gusts from the west. It's a different story when those wind gusts are strong from the southeast. Weak trees aren't used to that wind direction, can fall easily, especially with that saturated soil with all that rain and snow and snowmelt we've been seeing over the past several weeks. You can see here wind gusts Friday night and early Saturday. This is about 12:30 Saturday morning. Wind gusts between 40 and 60 miles per hour yet again. And so a live look at the Storm Tracker 2 Yorkville Battery live radar. We can see that this Clipper system approaching from the west. It will approach our area and gradually weaken, but it's enough to produce at least some light snow showers throughout the late morning, possibly the early afternoon, the earliest timing of that. But you can see on our radar right now the lake effect snow sticking primarily north of the Mohawk Valley, but turning on our sensitive radar, you can see that a few spots of some drizzle and mist, freezing at times, pushing just north of Utica. And so in our Skycast for today, temperatures climbing into the low to mid 30s. The snow pushes through this afternoon, and with the temperatures in the I-90 corridor still right around freezing, it might mix in with sleet or just a wintry mix. It might not fall entirely as snow. And again, very little accumulation, if any, is expected from the system in the lowest elevations with those slightly warmer ground temperatures. A different story as you head up into the North Country, where we're thinking roughly between 2 to 4 inches in the light blue area. That 4 to 8 range on the Tug Hill Plateau could vary a few miles north and south of the Lewis-Oneida County border, but that's our current thoughts of snowfall. And this is for this morning until this evening and early tonight. And so for today, highs in the mid-30s, afternoon snow, possibly mixing in with some sleet in the Mohawk Valley this evening. Tonight, flurries, low of 27, 7-day forecast. Looking quiet on Friday, warming up into the 40s yet again on Saturday with that very strong system arriving, bringing initially wet snow, then rain, then those strong winds overnight. Another concern for power outages and wind damage as well. But after that, though, things are trending still on the slightly active side weather-wise, but much more cool and more January-like.
We were due to make up for December, weren't we?
Yes.
And we are.
Finally getting that winter weather now.
That's right. Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:54. Still ahead on Sunrise 2024.
Now, you're watching News Channel 2 at Sunrise with Gary Liberatore.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2, meteorologist Eric Gage.
And we've been mentioning it a couple times this morning, but our fellow employees out there, definitely be careful when you come into this parking lot because it is downright slippery out there.
Yeah, it is an entire sheet of ice from the front door all the way to the parking lot. Even on the cars, a sheet of ice as well. And we've got freezing drizzle, patchy freezing drizzle, in areas just north of Utica. Head up on the hilltops, things get a little bit on the slick side, especially at untreated surfaces. Heading up north, it's entirely all snow, and then heading south, it is relatively dry with just mostly cloudy skies. So again, here's a look at our parking lot this morning. You can see that layer of ice on the windshields and on the windows right there, and the same thing on the surfaces in the parking lot. So again, we have a freezing drizzle alert, especially for areas, again, just north of Utica in the higher elevations. You could be dealing with some ice on not only your parking lot or driveway, but also on your windshield and on your car. Temperatures and winds, starting out with winds, a bit breezy out there this morning, but again, winds not too bad. Temperature 33 in Utica with quiet conditions on the roads. You can see in the lowest elevations, the roads are only a little wet with some light mist. And a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. We can see that snow band from Lake Effect slowly pushing back up north again. And we're seeing just some light flurries starting to develop just north of Ithaca, heading into the southern valleys. And for today, again, it starts out relatively quiet with isolated Lake Effect snow. That snow becomes more scattered and widespread this afternoon, might be mixing in with some sleet in the lowest elevations. After that, though, we're talking about yet again another windy system bringing possible wind damage to some locations on Friday and early Saturday. Full details on that coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. Let's get right to that breaking news now, crew.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good morning, happy Thursday. We're taking a look at what you can expect as you head out the door this morning and, of course, as you head home from work. Starting out, a live look at downtown Utica from our Nexus camera. Roads on the west side and lowest elevations. A light mist falling here and there as a lake effect band is pushing through the North Country at this point. It will gradually dry out a little bit as that band continues north. There has been some patchy freezing drizzle in areas just north of Utica in the higher elevations, so watch out for slick spots on untreated surfaces. Currently in downtown Utica, 33 degrees, just above freezing. And taking a look at Cooperstown right now, roads pretty much clear. There's some slick spots on the sides as well. Temperatures also right above freezing at 33 degrees. And a look across the Mohawk Valley area, you can see Route 8, Route 20, Bridgewater connection right there. Roads looking clear. Same for the arterial, misty, wet roads. Norton C Street looking clear. And finally as well, a bit hard to see it there, but I-90 at Herkimer Mohawk is currently looking okay. But for today, though, again, watch out for those slick spots on untreated surfaces. Bit icy out there with that patchy freezing drizzle. This afternoon, things do quiet down briefly before some light, widespread snow pushes through our area. Could be in a mixture of sleet in the lowest elevations. I'll go into more detail on that in that full forecast coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. The Verona Fire District is...
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome back. We are tracking a single lake effect snow band pushing north into the North Country this morning. But with that band, it's producing some light mist drizzle, even some patchy freezing drizzle in some higher elevations just north of Utica. A live look at downtown Utica right now. The road conditions in the lowest elevations are okay. Roads wet, but again, nothing impacting travel is expected as you head in the lowest elevations in downtown Utica. A different story as you head up on the hilltops. There is some ice accumulating on untreated surfaces, so watch out for that. But as you can see here, temperatures at Griffith and Rome, 33, with a decent westerly wind at 10 miles per hour. Look at your day planner. Temperatures climbing into the low to mid 30s by this afternoon, but still pretty typical for this time of year. Wind speeds will still be slightly on the breezy side, but not too bad. Winds between 5 to 10 miles per hour. Breezy today, possible gusty and damaging winds Friday night. We are back to a similar setup like what we saw Tuesday night into early Wednesday with a strong southeasterly wind. Windy conditions linger into the early part of Saturday before they do quiet down a little bit on Sunday. And the reason why these are concerning, last night we did see some gusty winds, but they were westerly, and our area is used to seeing these strong westerly winds. It's a different story when these winds are coming from the southeast. Weak trees that have roots that are more accustomed to west winds are not accustomed to the strong southeasterly winds. That's why when we have strong winds from this direction, we see a lot more outages. Why we take these winds a lot more seriously than other ones. But as you can see here, regardless of direction, wind gusts between 40 and 60 miles per hour, yet again expected over some parts of the area as we head into Friday night into early Saturday. In a live look at the radar, we can see that there is a weak clipper system moving through the New York border, right over the parts of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. It will weaken as it heads over our area, but enough to produce some light to moderate snow showers over central New York. And at the local level here, we can see some light drizzle falling in some locations just north of Utica. And again, that lake effect snow band is primarily in the North Country on the border of Oneida and Lewis County. And so in our skycast for today, that snow band sweeps north by noontime, scattered snow showers, again, primarily north of the area. And as that clipper slowly moves through central New York, we'll see some scattered light snow showers, at least until the early to late evening. Now, in the Mohawk Valley, temperatures will be hovering right around freezing, so this could mix in with a little bit of sleet. And then regarding snowfall, barely any accumulation expected in the lowest elevations with those warmer temperatures. 2 to 4 in the light blue area, and that 4 to 8 could wobble a few miles outside of that Lewis County area in Tug Hill. For today, high at 36 degrees, afternoon snow and a light mix possible in the lowest elevations. Tonight, a low of 27 with some flurries. Your 7-day forecast, starting out relatively quiet on Friday. Winds pick up Friday night. And starting out as wet snow, turning over to rain, and of course those gusty winds. Almost an exact setup to what we saw Tuesday night and into Wednesday. So if you remember how that shaped up, expect something similar on Friday night.
Hopefully it won't be as damaging.
Yeah, hopefully not. And another thing too is the snow will be starting later on, not in the mid-afternoon like we saw on Tuesday.
Eric, thanks. The time right now, 6:23.
Now, you're watching News Channel 2 at sunrise with Gary Liberatore.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2, meteorologist Eric Gage.
And we need to give a shout out to all those road crews who are keeping the roads safe this morning, because if they weren't out there, we could see some really slick spots.
Yeah, that's right. Some patchy freezing drizzle fell in some locations, and thankfully, of course, thanks to the road crews, the main roads, low elevations are treated. So the roads are fine as you head into downtown Utica. Heading to the hilltops, a different story. On untreated surfaces, especially parking lots and driveways, a little slick out there. with some patchy freezing drizzle. And of course, some of our coworkers coming in this morning.
Watch out.
Watch out. Look at what we're seeing in the parking lot right now. Here's a look at one of the windows on our news trucks. You can see the layer of ice on there. And that's not only on the car, but also in the parking lot as well. So again, we have a freezing drizzle alert in effect for primarily higher elevations just north of Utica, where that lake effect band is set up. It is producing snow as you head farther to the north, but with those temperatures right around freezing near the valley, it's a different story. Wind speeds across the state much more tolerable, with winds between 0 to 10 miles per hour. You can see calm winds currently at Hamilton in Madison County. And a live look at downtown Utica, you can see the roads, no impacts on the roadways right now with clear conditions. On the radar, as you head up into the North Country, you can see that lake effect snow band pushing through portions of northern Oneida County on the border of Lewis County and, of course, northern Herkimer County at this point. And we're also tracking, yet again, some light flurries pushing in just north of Ithaca into the southern valleys. And so for today, highs in the mid-30s, afternoon snow showers push through, could mix in with some sleet in the lower elevations as those temperatures struggle to fall below freezing. We are tracking more quiet weather tomorrow, but yet again, another round of wind and a wintry mix in effect heading into Friday night into Saturday. And more details on that coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. At first glance, it looks like the wind won in Westernville after Tuesday night's storm, but on closer examination, it wasn't as bad as it looked. And the couple who lives in a very badly damaged property is grateful for a parting gift from the wild weather. News Channel 2's Jolene Ferris has more.
1 minute, Carol Nettleton was relaxing on the couch. The next,
I just heard this loud bang and the house shook.
that was Tuesday night off of Stokes Westernville Road in Westernville. Don Peavy was outside the house when it happened.
I was actually out here on the porch getting some firewood last night, and I heard a crack, and then that tree came down on that truck, and that house.
Upon closer examination, it appears that smaller tree branches basically came to rest on the house, not causing any significant damage. The tree trunks that fell on the two pickups in the driveway, different story.
And the truck is the biggest issue as far as damage goes, but
We are lucky. The size of that branch headed towards that window over there is just beyond me. This is crazy.
And maybe they even gained something from the storm. Little parting gift.
Well, we'll get a good 4 weeks worth of wood out there.
Luckily, they have insurance. Jolene Ferris, News Channel 2.
And because of Tuesday night's storm into Wednesday morning, Columbus Elementary School in Utica could not open yesterday because it was still without power. And right nearby there, MVCC was also closed, but so was MVCC's campus in Rome. And we were told by school officials the Rome issue was all due to the school's computer system that took a hit in the Utica hit. Now, much of East Utica was without power at one point. We actually did have a viewer call us in and tell us that he was without power since 8:22 the night before into yesterday morning. Crews are busy working on fixing a water main leak in the village of Remsen. The leak
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good morning. It is 6:43. Time to showcase our weather photo of the day. This one is just adorable. I love when the birds are in the cold and their feathers are all puffed up. This is an adorable shot right here. And of course, the caption along with it too was, "Baby, it's cold outside." This photo was submitted from New Hartford. If you want your photo submitted here to be showcased on News Channel 2 at sunrise, and as well as our Facebook page, you can submit it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. We can look for pictures such as this, animals out in the weather, your dog out in the weather, your cat, any animal that you have, maybe your kids doing some building a snowman or whatever, or simply showcasing a nice shot of a sunrise, sunset, snow, rainbow, you name it. It's weather related. We'll be sure to include it at some point on News Channel 2 at sunrise. And a live look at the radar right now, we are tracking some snow from lake effect in the North Country. Some light drizzle as you head to the south, some of it freezing in the hilltops. So watch out for some slick spots as you head out the door this morning, especially in the higher elevations north and east of Utica. And again, for today, we're tracking more light snow on the horizon for this afternoon, and unfortunately, more potential for damaging winds heading into Friday night into Saturday. Full details on that coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. The White House says President Biden is personally.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. There is some slick spots in higher elevations this morning due to patchy freezing drizzle and some lake effect snow in the north, but in the lowest elevations in the Mohawk Valley, things are looking pretty quiet. Live look at downtown Utica right now. Again, there's a look at current conditions. Roads a little damp, but again, looking pretty clear. Another thing to mention too, thank you to our Skywatcher Mike for pointing this out. It's been so busy the past few days, we haven't been able to mention it too. Sunrise is now starting to get a little bit sooner. It was 7:32 sunrise time over the past several days. It's now 7:31, and over the next several weeks, sunrise will continue to get even earlier. We've actually gained about a minute and a half of additional daylight today compared to yesterday. And looking at the temperatures across central New York in the Mohawk Valley, in the 30s, 33 with Mike in New Hartford, Bob and Clinton 33, Todd and Westdale at 31 degrees. Bill and Sean in the North Country, both with 20 in the upper 20s, 26, Old Forge 28 degrees in Inlet. And the Southern Valleys, 32 degrees with Stewart and Cooperstown, Mark and Milford 32, Deb and Hartwick 29, Scott, Evanston 31, and Diane and West Lawrence with 30 degrees. Throughout the afternoon, we warm up a little bit into the mid-30s in the Mohawk Valley. And regarding winds, it will be a little breezy today, but not too bad. The main winds arrive Friday night and into early Saturday. And with the latest information coming in, I'm a little worried on the arrival time of the wet snow when the winds are the strongest. With the winds, at least on Tuesday night into Wednesday, the winds arrived after the rain, or the snow switched over to rain. This might be a different story as we head into this weekend, Friday night and into early Saturday. Regarding those winds, again, looking at the overnight hours, Friday night and early Saturday between 12 and 1 a.m., you can see the strongest wind gusts between 40 and 60 miles per hour. And I'll go into the skycasts in a little bit and show you exactly what I mean by the arrival time of that wet snow. Radar showing a weak clipper system arriving from the west here locally. We're just seeing some lake effect flurries and snow showers north of the Mohawk Valley and some drizzle in some locations south, some of it freezing at times. And as you can see here, the snow will start to develop as we approach the afternoon hours. So again, you can see here some scattered snow showers this afternoon and this evening. It might still stick to sleet in some locations in the lowest elevation, maybe some rain as it struggles to fall below freezing in the Mohawk Valley. Then I'm going to skip ahead throughout Friday and into Friday night because as we approach the overnight hours, wet snow starts to fall. And this is 10:30 till around midnight. You can see that wet snow switching over to rain. And my biggest concern with this is going to be if that snow will still be falling when the strongest winds develop, because that's not good news if it comes to power outages across the area. But regarding the near-term forecast for snowfall, trace 2 inches over some parts of the area south of I-90 in the Mohawk Valley, 2 to 4 possibly in the highest elevations north. And so for today, afternoon snow showers, a mix, and rain in the lowest elevations tonight. A low of 27 with flurries, your 7-day forecast. Again, we're tracking the active weather Friday night and into early Saturday. We'll continue to monitor the arrival time of that wet snow and the strongest winds, but comparing this to a similar setup what we saw a few years ago in April, the April snowstorm with that wet snow and that wind, and we had lots of power outages. That's something we don't want to see happen, and we're going to look at that because thankfully we didn't see the wet snow and the winds were strong on Tuesday.
Yeah, a little bit of a difference, but still it's going to be a tough weekend.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. The time right now is 6:50.
Now, you're watching News Channel 2 at 7 a.m. on CW11 with Gary Liberatore.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the CW11. I'm Gary Lubator.
I'm Storm Tracker 2, meteorologist Eric Gage.
And you were mentioning freezing drizzle causing some slippery condition, especially in parking lots like ours, right?
Yeah, that's right. Hilltops, some patchy freezing drizzle. Some drizzle taking place in other locations, but in the Mohawk Valley, it's melting on the surfaces, thankfully. There's some snow in the North Country as well, but yeah, again, if you live in higher elevations this morning, watch out for some patches of freezing drizzle, as well as in those untreated surfaces in parking lots and driveways. Just look at our parking lot this morning, especially on the side of one of our news trucks right here. This is a layer of ice that you could expect depending on your location. This is right here taken in Deerfield. And so we have a freezing drizzle alert in effect this morning. Watch out for icy spots on untreated surfaces. And regarding those wind speeds, the all too important wind speeds, things are remaining relatively calm right now this morning. Wind speeds between 0 and 10 miles per hour in some locations. Gusts a little higher, but not too bad. And taking a live look at downtown Utica from our Nexus camera. Temperature 33 degrees, looking pretty quiet. A light mist here and there, but nothing too bad in the lowest elevations. And on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, we can see that lake effect snow primarily off of Lake Ontario, still sticking to portions in northern Oneida County on the border of Oneida and Lewis County, as well as, of course, up in northern Herkimer County as well. And a brief little bit of light snow taking place just north of Ithaca, heading into parts of Shenango and Otsego County. For today, highs in the mid-30s, afternoon snow, a light mix possible in the lowest elevations as those temperatures struggle to fall below 32 degrees. Tomorrow looking relatively quiet weather-wise, but our attention turns to a strong, yet again, windy system in place for our area Friday night and early Saturday. Full details on that are coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. Let's get right to the breaking news cruise.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. Happy Thursday. We're dealing with relatively quiet conditions in the Mohawk Valley, some light mist falling, patchy drizzle in some locations in those higher elevations. Of course, watch out for slick spots on untreated roads and parking lots. And here's a live look at downtown Utica right now. Again, looking at relatively quiet conditions here. Damp roads after some light mist this morning, but again, conditions aren't too bad in the lowest elevations. Our sky watchers this morning, 33 New Hartford, as well as Clinton, 31 degrees out in Westdale. In the North Country, 26 and 28 degrees. 33 degrees with Jeff in Mohawk. Southern Valleys, 32 degrees in Milford and Cooperstown. 30 West Lawrence, 31 in Edmiston. For today, though, we are tracking average temperatures for this time of year in the low to mid-30s with lake effect snow north of us for now, but the widespread to steady scattered snow showers will develop over the area coming into the afternoon. Breezy today, winds not too bad. Winds pick up Friday night and have the potential to be damaging, similar to what we saw on Tuesday night and into early Wednesday. And the concern with these winds, because we did have strong winds last night, were not because of the strength of the wind so much as the direction. Wind gusts between 40 and 60 miles per hour are expected yet again Friday night and early Saturday. And the concern for this one yet again is because the winds are coming from the southeast. And weak tree limbs and just trees in general are used to experiencing strong westerly winds in our area. You don't usually see strong southeasterly winds, and of course that's why we saw a lot of power outages, especially north of our area, heading into Tuesday night and early Wednesday. Another concerning situation with this as well will be if the wet snow falls when the winds are this strong. That is the biggest concern with this system, and of course we'll follow that as we do get more data and the stuff becomes more clear as the days progress. Live radar showing a weak clipper system moving in from the west, and here locally some lake effect snow in the North Country and some light drizzle picking up here in the Utica area as well. Our skycast showing lake effect snow pushing north this afternoon. Some widespread to scattered light snow showers here across central New York. Could mix in with some sleet and rain in the lower elevations as it struggles to fall below freezing. And then again, we are tracking more quiet weather as we head into Friday. And regarding the snowfall totals, trace 2 inches for most areas in the Southern Valleys I-90 corridor, 2 to 4 as you head up north, 4 to 8 possible in the Tug Hill Plateau. For today, high of 36, afternoon snow mixing in with some light rain and sleet, possibly in the lower elevations. Tonight, low of 27, 7-day forecast, warming up on Saturday.
I'll see you at noon with Gary Liberator.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. A travel advisory is in effect up in Lewis County due to high winds, slippery snow-covered roads, and low visibility. The question, will lake effect snow that be making its way down here to the Mohawk Valley? News Channel 2 meteorologist Eric Gage tracking it for us in the Weather Center. Hey there, Eric.
Hey, Gary. Yeah, that's right. There are some travel advisories in the North Country, especially in the higher elevations near Tug Hill, as some snow is starting to fall. Not too bad just yet. I'm taking a look at some cameras up in the North Country right now, and it looks to be so far the snow is falling a good amount. But as you can see here in the Mohawk Valley, a few flurries falling in downtown Utica, currently 35 degrees. So the snowflakes are not surviving as they reach the surface of the ground with those warmer temperatures. On the radar, we're seeing that Clipper system move in from the west, bringing a few flurries here and there. Most of the snow from this event will be accumulating in the higher elevations north of the Mohawk Valley. It might take a little bit longer for that to accumulate here in the lower elevations. As you can see, 35 Westland, Little Falls, 34 degrees in Whitesboro. In the Southern Valley, still a little bit warmer in Cooperstown, 34 degrees. And for today, again, an afternoon snow shower pushing through the area. Could mix in maybe a few flurries turning into sleet here and there, but regardless, today on the lightly snowy side. Quieting down tomorrow, then we're tracking another windy, wintry system heading into Friday night into Saturday. Full details on that coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. Multiple fire departments fought a
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon and welcome back. A weakening Clipper system moves through our area, bringing some light snow to the Mohawk Valley and in some cases heading up in the North Country, especially near the Tug Hill Plateau, higher accumulations. I'm live look in Cooperstown right now, nothing too major with a few flurries flying in the air. These flurries are almost sleet-like. They are very small in some cases, with those temperatures hovering right around freezing at 34 degrees. And look across New York State, mostly cloudy skies with, again, a few lingering flurries in the lowest elevations. Snow up in Watertown, same thing down in Binghamton and out in Rochester and Buffalo as this system continues to move through the area. We'll be sticking in the mid to low 30s throughout the afternoon and the evening hours, not dropping too much below freezing, at least until 7, 8 p.m. onwards. And because of that, the snow we'll be seeing in the valley will likely not stick at all, even if we do see it. Regarding winds, breezy conditions for today. Heading into tomorrow, however, tomorrow night, there is a potential for yet again another system bringing potentially damaging winds to our area, especially on those northwestern slopes, on those hilltops in the higher elevations. Windy conditions will continue throughout Saturday as well. But here's a look at the wind gusts heading into Friday night. You can see wind gusts between 40 and 60 miles per hour, and again, especially on those northwestern slopes of those hilltops. A live look at the radar, we're seeing that Clipper system move through central New York, and here locally, a few flurries mixing in here and there. But as you look down to Ithaca, we're seeing some of that green as well, as the snow is melting into some rain in the lowest elevations. And in the Mohawk Valley I-90 corridor, that can still be the case with those pockets of temperatures still above freezing. And so for today, again, light snow showers this afternoon and this evening. Again, mixing in with some light sleet here and there in the Mohawk Valley. Overnight tonight, turning over to flurries, lingering into early tomorrow morning. Then things do quiet down for the most part on Friday before you're tracking our next system arriving Friday night, bringing the potential for wet snow starting out. But with the warmer temperatures in the valley in the mid to low 30s, it might start out as rain before switching over to wet snow. And again, the winds do pick up there, so there is a concern still for some outages. And so for today, highs in the mid-30s. Afternoon snow, a mix in the lower elevations tonight. A low of 27, a few flurries, your 7-day forecast. Again, accumulations for today will primarily stick to the northern regions of Oneida County and the Lewis County border near the Tug Hill Plateau. But regardless, any snow we do see for today looks to be melting as it reaches the ground. And our attention for the most part is going to be on this weekend, especially Friday night and Saturday. Gary?
We'll keep an eye on that for sure. But the storm that hit us this week and brought the weather in this half hour, once again, here is meteorologist Eric Gage.
We're still tracking some snow showers pushing through central New York this afternoon. A live look in downtown Utica. We're seeing a few flurries fall in front of the camera right now. These flurries, if you can call them that, are more sleet-like with those temperatures above freezing in the Mohawk Valley, currently 35 degrees. So if you're expecting any accumulating snow here in the Mohawk Valley, well, you might have to look for a different day, because today we're dealing with some snow showers, but not a lot of it will stick to the ground in the lowest elevations. But regardless, we're still seeing the scattered to widespread snow developing from, again, a weakening Clipper system from the west, pushing through now western Oneida County. And again, those temperatures in the valley are still a good amount above freezing, preventing that from accumulating on the ground. A different story as you head up in northern Oneida County, especially on the Tug Hill Plateau. That's where the highest accumulation numbers will be expected throughout this afternoon into the overnight hours tonight. Things quiet down by tomorrow, and then by tomorrow night, things return more active once more. A strong low pressure system bringing strong winds, initial round of rain and wet snow, and of course, if you're concerned for some power outages, full details on that coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. The TSA says it's
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon and welcome back. We are tracking a weak Clipper system moving through central New York, bringing with it some snow and even some mixing in some elevations that are still above freezing. Here's a live look from the City of the Hills. In Oneonta, currently 32 degrees with snow falling here and there. Some of it just fell through the camera just a few moments ago. And in some locations, especially in the Mohawk Valley, with those temperatures above freezing at 35 degrees, the snow that's falling is more sleet-like. The flakes are very small and, again, almost like shards of ice. As you can see down in Binghamton, snowing, but down in Ithaca, with those 35-degree temperatures, it's switching over to rain. So we're trending a very thin line with any type of precipitation for today. The temperatures this afternoon remaining in the mid-30s, cooling down into the low 30s by this evening. Again, struggling to really make it below freezing in the Mohawk Valley by sunset. Now, regarding winds, it'll be a bit breezy for the most part today, but nothing too bad. Our winds do pick up as we approach Friday, and with the strong southeasterly winds, some of these could be on the damaging side with gusts between 40 and 60 miles per hour, very similar to the same setup we saw on Tuesday night and into Wednesday. And regarding those wind gusts, here's a look at the overall wind gust potential. And starting out Friday night and into Saturday, 12:30 a.m., you can see those gusts between 30, even in some cases 40 and 60 miles per hour gusts in the highest elevations. Those northwestern slopes and those hilltops will be the most likely area to see those stronger wind gusts. Clipper system moving into central New York, and on the local Yorkville Battery live radar, we can see that a few bands are starting to push through central New York, and some rain mixing in along with some sleet in the lowest elevation. So regarding accumulation, don't expect a whole lot in the lowest elevations, but you could see a little bit more as you head up into portions of northern Oneida County along the Lewis County border near Tug Hill. So on our Skycast, you're seeing some scattered snow showers pushing through central New York this evening into tonight. Lingering lake effect into early tomorrow morning, that comes to an end, and our attention turns to Friday evening. If you're traveling home from work Friday evening, this is not going to impact the evening commute. This is looking to arrive in the later hours, 10:30, 11 p.m., Starting out as rain, most likely in the lowest elevations before it switched over to wet snow and then over to entirely rain by the overnight hours. Very similar again to what we saw on Tuesday night and into Wednesday. But near-term forecast for snowfall, at least for the local area, 2 to 4 inches light blue area. The likelihood of seeing 4 to 8 will be in this region right here, upsloping just south of the Tug Hill Plateau. And so for today, highs in the mid-30s, afternoon snow, again mixing with some sleet and rain here and there. Tonight, a low of 27 with a few flurries. 7-day forecast, again an alert day for Saturday, primarily Friday night and into Saturday, again with those potential for damaging wind gusts as well. Could see some outages on top of that, and after that things do quiet down on Sunday a little bit, but we're still dealing with lake effect and strong winds Saturday evening. Gary?
Eric, thanks. After years of
With Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Tracking widespread snow taking place this evening. It's a very different story between the lower elevations and the hilltop locations. The lower elevations, a lot of this snow is having a hard time sticking and the roads are wet, but the higher elevations are slippery. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The snow will continue throughout the course of this evening and gradually comes to an end tonight. Most of us pick up just a slushy inch of accumulation. The next thing we're watching is what happens tomorrow night. We've got an alert day for the possibility of damaging winds. It looks like we've got another weather maker similar to earlier this week. Wintry mix, strong winds Friday night. This one also changes the weather pattern for the weekend, bringing in much colder weather with chances for lake effect snow, especially north. Downtown Utica, again, temperature of 32 degrees. Again, you can see the roads are wet, but the hilltops are slippery. Snow continues this evening. Again, we're tracking a lot of changes in the weather here throughout the next 7 days. And look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
Bill, thank you.
Days following her State of the State.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. We're tracking widespread, steady, generally light snow across the entire area from a very weak area of low pressure. Let's take a live look outside. Very changeable weather conditions based on elevation. The lower spots look a lot like this. This is a live look in downtown Utica. The roads are wet. The snow just kind of having a hard time sticking. It's much slushier and the roads are slippery in the higher elevations. So just keep that in mind if you are planning on traveling tonight. Do expect some slippery spots to be had, secondary roads, higher elevations in particular. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. You can see the snow is widespread. It will continue for the next several hours as a weak area of low pressure moves across the Great Lakes, again producing some generally light snowfall. Let's talk about the winds here. I'm going to step aside so this graphic is in the entire screen and I'm not in the way. The winds are generally light tomorrow to start, but as we head throughout the day, the wind gusts will be picking up. In fact, after say 4 or 5 o'clock, that's when the winds become stronger. The strongest winds happen overnight, and we're thinking wind gusts could be between about 40 to 50 miles an hour, especially the higher elevations. And since wind varies so much based on topography, it's the same wind direction as what we dealt with the last one. So if you saw strong winds, expect that again. The winds weren't too bad in your area with the last wind event. It probably won't be tomorrow night. Sky watchers across the area, 32 degrees in Whitesboro, 33 in Clinton, Stratford 31, Hartwick with 31 degrees. Temperatures right around freezing this evening. So this Clipper system moves to the east tonight. The weather dries out overnight. The snow comes to an end after, say, 9, 10 o'clock. Temperatures tonight fall to the upper 20s. Tomorrow, it's a cloudy start to the day. A few breaks of sunshine in the afternoon. Friday looks dry. Then after dark, the clouds thicken up, the winds pick up, the snow breaks out. Thinking the start time will be between about 9 to 11 p.m. Snow comes down heavy overnight, switching over to rain between about 2 to 4 a.m. Temperatures climb above freezing as we head into Saturday morning. It's a mild start to Saturday. Temperatures in the low 40s. And then colder weather will settle in as we head into Saturday afternoon. Snowfall Friday night, a trace to 2 inches in the Mohawk Valley, 2 to 4 inches possible north of the Mohawk Valley, 4 to 8 inches of snowfall expected in the Adirondacks. The weekend weather, it's cold and it's windy, and lake effect is very likely to fall north and west of central New York. So it looks like a very favorable lake effect snow pattern. Snow ends tonight, low of 32. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high of 38. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Windy tomorrow night with that wintry mix. Saturday, lake effect snow develops. It gets a lot colder next week. Temperatures in the 20s, and you can see just about every day with some snow in the forecast, getting back into a very classic winter pattern that we're maybe not used to, but we should be.
But we should be. All right, thanks, Bill. Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6, a legendary.
You're watching News Channel 2 at 10 on CW 11 with Jason Palace.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We're getting set for an alert day. That's what the red sign's all about. Weather's going to change in about 24 hours from now. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis tracking it all. Want everybody to know that this is very similar to what we saw just the other day.
Yeah, just a few small differences. One being what follows at the end of this is much colder weather.
Oh.
So we're going to be dealing with that. But the general idea is that this arrives Friday evening. The heaviest snow is going to be 10 to 11 o'clock onward. Damaging winds are possible, especially in the higher terrain. So very similar to what we just dealt with, again, that alert day for tomorrow night. Let's take a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, and we are tracking some light snow that continues across central New York. Accumulations today were on the lower side. Most areas picked up an inch of slushy accumulation. The hilltops, though, were slippery, and snow showers will be very gradually winding down tonight. Little additional accumulation is expected. Current temperatures 33 degrees. A very mild night. Overnight lows drop down into the low 30s. We'll hold on to mostly cloudy skies, and again, a couple of lingering snow showers around. We're tracking the winds for tomorrow night, along with much colder and snowy weather, some lake effect snow to track heading into the weekend and beyond. Look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, Utica police and SWAT teams took a Utica.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. We're taking a live look in downtown Utica tonight. The roads are generally wet. We had some slippery spots in higher elevations as a weak clipper system moved through. It brought widespread light snow today. Things look to quiet down as we head into tonight. Still a few lingering showers out there tonight. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. But in general, this weather is moving to the east. And again, we will get a chance to dry out as we head into tonight. The winds are going to be picking up throughout the day tomorrow. In fact, let's look at how the winds increase throughout the day. Starting out light in the morning and then throughout tomorrow afternoon, they pick up. In fact, especially in the afternoon and evening, wind gusts become potentially damaging by Saturday morning. We're thinking the peak wind will be 11 o'clock Friday evening through about 2 to 3 o'clock Saturday morning. So just a heads up here, wind gusts as high as 45 miles an hour, maybe even 50 miles an hour in the higher elevations. Instead of being from the southeast, this wind is going to have a more easterly component to it. But still, looking to be about as strong as it was on Tuesday night. And that could be enough to cause some scattered power outages. Radar and satellite image, again, one weather system moving out, the next one moving in. This one from the west will be creating a wintry mix. So tonight, the snow comes to an end. Overnight lows drop into the low 30s. It's cloudy throughout the first half of the day tomorrow. Might see a few breaks in the overcast in the afternoon. High temperatures in the upper 30s. Tomorrow night, clouds thicken up. Snow breaks out between 8 to 10 p.m. Snow comes down heavy overnight before turning over to rain between 2 to 4 a.m. Temperatures will rise overnight, and again, the strongest winds happen within a few hours of midnight. Saturday morning, temperatures start out above freezing. Cold air will spill in throughout the day, and lake effect snow will start to develop as we head into Saturday night with accumulations. Let's talk about accumulating snow tomorrow night before that change over to rain. A trace to 2 inches of snow is expected in and south of the Mohawk Valley. North of the Mohawk Valley, 2 to 4 inches of accumulation. In the Adirondacks, 4 to 8 inches of snowfall expected before turning over to rain early Saturday morning. The stage looks to be set for a significant long-duration lake effect snowfall, primarily across the North Country and western New York for the weekend. We could be talking about a hefty accumulation, more than a foot. In fact, a lot of cases, maybe even 2 feet of snow towards the Watertown, Buffalo regions. It looks like that lake effect snow will stay north of the Mohawk Valley, but we'll be keeping an eye on that as we head into early next week. Tonight, snow ends, low of 32. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy. The wind picks up throughout the day, a high of 38. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Again, with the potential of damaging winds Friday night and into Saturday, we've marked Saturday as an alert day. Again, an early high of 44. Much colder weather here for the second half of the weekend. Sunday's high 25, and the winter's chill is going to linger around for next week with many chances for snow. Most of that is lake effect snow, but we could also be talking about more widespread snow Tuesday night and into Wednesday. So a lot to follow. We'll keep you posted each and every day.
Is that one of those storms, like this storm, it goes by the lakes and then just pulls the moisture off, and that's why we would see so many different lake effects bands?
It leaves behind enough cold air where the lakes are just wide open. And it's been so warm, we really haven't had much cold air. The lakes are ready to go.
Well, maybe we could finally get some snow for a change, right? All right, thanks, Bill. Coming up next, the Christmas letter continues.
Watching News Channel 2 at 11 with Jason Powers.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are getting set for an alert day. The weather about to change 24 hours from now. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis tracking it all. This alert day looks there's a lot of similarities to Tuesday into Wednesday night this past week, right?
Yes, talking about that wintry mix, starting out as snow, turning over to rain, potentially damaging winds. This happens Friday night, a few hours after, or a little bit later than what happened Tuesday night. I think the heaviest snow happens around 10 to 11 o'clock at night. And also the last bullet point here, this storm system changes the weather patterns for the weekend. It's going to bring in much colder weather along with some lake effect snow. Let's take a look at the conditions out there tonight. We're tracking some light snow on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Snow will continue to fall lightly throughout tonight. We're not expecting much more additional accumulation. It all came from a weak area of low pressure. It's called the Clipper system, producing some widespread light snowfall. Current temperature is 33 degrees, light north-northwest wind. Overnight lows drop down into the low 30s. Pretty quiet weather tonight, just a few snow showers, especially north. The winds pick up throughout the day tomorrow. We're tracking some stronger winds and also some colder weather and lake effect snow heading into the weekend. And look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, Utica.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. We're taking a live look in downtown Utica. It's been kind of an unsettled day. We've been seeing some rain showers and snow showers throughout the course of the afternoon. The higher elevations, well, it's pretty slippery out there, and that's the case tonight, especially areas north of the Mohawk Valley. We're getting another burst of snow kicked off from Lake Ontario. This is part of a cold front dropping in from the northwest. This will produce a few more snow showers overnight. The bigger picture shows the weather will be drying out tonight as this front moves through, and we're going to be tracking the winds heading into tomorrow. In fact, let's take a look at the wind gust meter, comparing the Mohawk, North Country, and Southern Valleys throughout the day tomorrow. Winds start out light in the morning, but as you can see, they start to pick up throughout the day, especially after, say, 5, 6 o'clock. Wind gusts are expected to top out between 40 to 45 miles an hour heading into early Saturday morning, late Friday night. Thinking the peak winds will be 11 o'clock Friday evening to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Again, wind gusts 40 to 45 miles an hour from the east-southeast. That could be enough to cause some damage and create some power outages, just like it did on Tuesday night. So you look at the radar and satellite image. Again, a weak area of low pressure moving through. The next one approaching from the Midwest. And this one is going to be will rapidly intensify. Tonight, snow showers come to an end. Overnight lows drop down into the low 30s. It's cloudy to start out Friday. Generally dry day. The winds will be picking up throughout the afternoon. We may see a few breaks of sunshine in the afternoon, but the weather will start to turn as we get into Friday night. Temperatures will slowly climb above freezing, but as snow arrives, temperatures will hold right around the freezing mark. Snow begins between 7 to 9 p.m., really ramping up closer to midnight. Snow turns over to rain 2 to 4 a.m. Temperatures climb above freezing heading into early Saturday morning. It's mild to start Saturday, but then throughout the day, the winds turn into the west, colder air arrives, and eventually some lake effect snow will be developing Saturday night. Before we get there, let's talk about the snowfall that's expected tomorrow night. We're thinking a general trace to 2 inches for the Mohawk and Southern Valleys. North of the Mohawk Valley, 2 to 4 inches of accumulation. The Adirondacks, higher elevations in Hamilton County, 4 to 8 inches of accumulation before that changeover to rain takes place early Saturday morning. Stage is set for some pretty hefty lake effect snow this weekend. The predominant wind direction from the southwest will put Buffalo and the North Country in some of those very heavy bands of snowfall. We're thinking these areas in white could see more than a foot of snow as we head into Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. Snow showers end tonight, low of 32. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a high of 38. Strong winds tomorrow night. Snow turns to rain. A mild start to Saturday, but it does get a lot colder. Lake effect snow really kicks up to the north on Sunday. That Bills-Steelers game could be epic.
Oh, yeah.
Just based on what we're seeing. That band of snow is probably going to be right over or just south of Buffalo, right over Orchard Park.
And that's going to be like a foot of snow, you said, possibly?
And a lot of wind, too.
Oh, fun times. They'll be running the ball a lot.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Bill. Coming up next, the Christmas